Take a poll of anyone who knows me in real life, and they will tell you that I absolutely prefer the company of animals to humans. The reason for this is because in the 43 years I've been on planet Earth, I have never seen a dog, a cat, a chicken, a cow, a horse do half the things that human beings do on a daily basis that gets my goat. No pun intended, or maybe it was. Hi, I'm Linda. This is Linda's World, and this is Top 10 Tuesdays. And tonight, we're counting down the top 10 different types of people that are out there in society that drive me batty. You want to know who makes it to the list? Would you like to know if you have been guilty of some of the things on the list? Well, stick around, because this list, this Top 10 Tuesdays episode of Linda's World starts right now. This is usually the part of the video where I pontificate for a couple of minutes instead of getting to the material. And I thought about pontificating about why I no longer make my Top 10 Tuesday lists from greatest to least or least to greatest. It's not that serious. Basically, I just got tired of quantifying stuff and wrestling weekly with what's number 1 and what's number 2 and so on. So I'm just going to dive right into the material, if that's okay with you. And we're going to talk about the top 10 types of people that drive me bananas. Okay? Now, I'm going to begin with the slow walkers. Yeah, I said it. Now, there are people who are elderly. There are people who are physically disabled. I'm not talking about these people. That's 100% understandable. There's a reason for it. I get it, and I'm going to be that person sooner than I think. Okay? I'm talking about the people who are 100% young and healthy, who have absolutely no physical reason why they shouldn't be walking at the pace that I am, and they get in front of me. Okay, they're like 27. They have lots of energy. Okay, they call each other before I leave the house. Okay, and say she's out, and they get in front of me and walk at the pace of a turtle and make me late for everything. Now they do this getting to the same green light as me. They do this getting to like the end of the subway platform when the damn train is coming. Like when something is time sensitive. Like we're not in a parade. So why are you marching forth as though you are? Are you being photographed for something? Are you leading a band? I don't understand why you're walking so effing slow in front of me. A lot of times it's time sensitive. A lot of times it's rush hour. It's like, I know where I have to be in half an hour. What about you, pal? Don't you have a date somewhere? You know? And it just baffles me, and it slows me up, and it pisses me off. Now, while we're on the subject of speed, I would like to offer up as my next category of people, slow people at the register. And I don't mean the cashiers, I mean the other customers. You'll see it. You're next online to pay for your purchases, and the person pays for their purchases, and the cashier hands them back the receipt and the money or whatever, and that's when they decide that they don't know where any of their pockets are. That's when they say, ooh, change. What is this? What are these metal things? I've never seen these before. Where do I place them? And they just start recombobulating themselves at the register, taking up your time, right? Now, many of the time I've been quite encumbered at the register at the end of my purchase. So what do? I take my pile of monies and papers and bags or whatever, pull over to the side to let the other guy behind me have his piece of pie, okay? And I finagle my stuff and do the thing, you know, pockets and what have you, and leave the store, having done it on the side, so the next person can have his chance, okay? But there's a lot of people in the world who don't do that, and those people get my goat, and they are number 9. Now, the next group of people are completely different. My complaint has nothing to do with speed right now. I like to call these people the autobiographical listener. Yeah, we've all had one of these people in our lives. The autobiographical listener will be standing right there. You'll say, oh, I have a headache. Oh my God, last night you should have seen my headache was so terrible. I took a leave. We're not talking about your headache. We're talking about mine. Oh, you know, I'd really like to come tonight, but, you know, it's my sister's baby shower. Oh, you should have seen my sister was on Facebook last night. It's like, but it's my sister we're talking about. People do this, I think, because they think that they're contributing and showing that they have empathy for your situation, when really all they're doing is showing a lack of empathy for your situation, because they're jumping right from yours to theirs as if your sentence just didn't matter, and they've just, like in a game of double dutch, been waiting to jump in with their information. okay? Because often their story that's supposed to correlate with yours isn't even helpful and doesn't even offer advice. If I said to you, I had a headache and it wouldn't go away, and you say, oh, I had a headache yesterday, but I took this medication and it worked, well, that's constructive, man. Great, okay? But if you're just gonna wax poetic about the headache you had last week, there's nothing I can do for you, okay? So those people drive me batty. Autobiographical listeners. Now, the next group of people on my list are people that I had a hard time naming. So I'm gonna call them loud cell phone people. Yeah. You've all been somewhere out in public, you know, the restaurant, the store, what have you, and there's a person and he's got his phone, and he wants you to know that he's having a conversation. He is so special that you have to hear what he's talking about. Hi, Bob? No, I wasn't there. What did he say? Well, I'll tell you what, Bob, I told him that if he was going to be like that, no, Bob, let me tell you. And they will talk to Bob for 45 minutes and just, you know, like a Broadway show. It's like it's a phone call. Like, you're not in a movie here, okay? It's like they talk to their person on the phone like they're Liam Neeson running the streets of Europe in any movie that he's made in the last 10 years, screaming that he wants his daughter back, you know? Like, it's not a Broadway show. I don't care what you're talking on the phone about because I don't know you, okay? But they want us to think that they're the coolest people ever because they got a cell phone call. It puts me in mind of when I was a freshman in college and there were still beepers because I'm 100. And there was this kid was in my Core 3 class, People, Power, and Politics was the name of the class at Brooklyn College. And there was this fellow who class met at 10 o'clock, and every day at about 10 after 10, he would get a beep on his beeper. And he would leave class to go call back the person who'd beeped him. And someone outed him. It was his mom. He was being beeped by his mom at 10:10 every day and pretending that he was beeped by his girlfriend. So, you know, there's that. I'll just leave that there. Okay. Worse than that are the people who are talking directly to you, and they are the public contradictors. Yeah. You've known these people. People who know you well. People who are your friends, your family. Pardon me for having hair in my eye. And you're talking about a situation that you guys have been through in front of other people. And you say, well, you know, we were there, and, you know, there must have been about 15 people waiting online. And they say to you, oh, no, it's more than 15 people. No, don't you remember? We said, oh, it's 20 people. It's like they're not even correcting anything that's important, like whether or not, you know, it was sunny or raining or whatever. They pick the most minuscule detail, and they want to inform the public that you're wrong, that it wasn't 15, it was 20, or it wasn't partly cloudy, it was partly sunny, or it wasn't, the man's name wasn't Bob, it was Bill, you know, like something that's inconsequential to the story. But they have to interrupt you in front of other folks and contradict your story to let you know that they know everything and to embarrass you in front of folks you're talking to. Ladies and gentlemen, the next group of people are what I call the make it yours people. These are people who turn every situation into their situation. Now, you might say, Linda, isn't that the autobiographical listener? No. It's not that they tell you, like, my headache and your headache. No, a situation that's existing currently that you guys are both having together, like my loved one is dead, you're coming to the funeral, like that, like a situation like that. I use that because it's an example that has actually happened to me. And it's your crisis, they make it their moment. You know, people have a tendency to do this when people die. You know, if it's like it's your tragedy, like it's not a distant person, it's your specific person who has died. And the make it yours person will wax poetic for 20,000 years, even if they haven't seen them in 20 years, about how this is their tragedy. Oh my God, I'm going to miss him so much. He was such a wonderful guy. And the sentiment is appreciated, but I'm talking about the people who make it their moment. Like, you wind up counseling them in your grief. You know, like, what are we going to do without him? It's like, well, isn't that a question that I'd like to answer for myself before I go ahead and start offering condolences to the public? You know, like, shouldn't you be asking me that question? You know, and it's a small group of people who do this, but the people who do this, they usually do it surrounding death, and that's why I'm using this example. Okay, now, directly related to the make it yours people are the crisis mongers. Sometimes people call these rubberneckers. Basically, people who can't see anything dramatic happen, like in the world at all, without wanting a piece of it. They've got to know, okay? An ambulance turns up on your block. Oh, they've got to go out there and find out what's with that ambulance. Have you ever seen when, like, you'll see it in a movie, or perhaps you've seen it in real life, when the police or whatever will say, back up, people, there's nothing to see here? You know what? They're right, okay? Far be it for me to agree with the police. I'm not exactly a fan, but, like, yeah, you know, calm down, lady, like, back off. It's not that serious. It doesn't involve you, okay? But there are people who, every time a strange car passes by, every time a person trips on a banana peel, they have to go out there and they have to crisis monger. It's basically like being an ambulance chaser, quote unquote, without being a lawyer, if that makes sense. And Brooklyn is full of these people, and that's why it's specifically on my mind as I make this list. Well, we've got another 3 to go. And I'd like to offer up as my next one, people who, in time of crisis, don't rubberneck, don't make it their moment. No, they're cliche sayers. Yeah. Cliche sayers. You can't, it's Friday, you walk into work, and the person is the first one to say, well, thank God it's Friday. It's like, yeah, I know. They have a whole restaurant based on that concept, okay? You know, oh, well, at least it's the weekend, or, well, only 2 days before the weekend, whatever it is that they, you know, cliches, or, you know, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. It is what it is. All's well that ends well. Whatever is the saying, you know, whatever, if it belongs on like a meme t-shirt, you know, like if you would see it on Facebook with butterflies and flowers attached to it in a meme, they've got to say it to you, you know. God only gives us as much as we can handle. You know, all of those cliched expressions that you've heard said over and over again, usually by people who can't offer up actual advice, so they just run to the nearest cliche they possibly can and hope that makes them look wise. You know, those people really get my goat. Yeah, okay. Now, next on the list, and the last one before we have the grand finale here, are the Doomsdayers. The people who will tell you with every single thing that happens in the world that this is the end of days. You know, now I'm not gonna lie. I have once or twice said, like, for example, with what's happening in the country right now, I've been like, I got scared at the very beginning and I was like, well, we'll all die, not maybe of the disease, but of social unrest and violence. You know, I've said that, okay? But I don't normally do that. So there are people who make doomsday out of everything. You know, there's the people walking around saying that everything is the worst thing. You know? Don't cry now, it's the end of the world. Oh my God, this happened, that happened, my light bulb blew out, my like finger itches, whatever, we're all gonna die. Doomsdayers, people who can't let a crisis be a level 3. You know, it's gotta be a level 10 crisis, because isn't that how everything is? You know, finally, on our top 10 Tuesdays, list of people who drive me bananas, I offer to you, ladies and gentlemen, people who are rude to waitstaff. I've been out with a few of these people. If you'd like to check out my top 10 worst dates I ever had, that video is highly amusing, and it has a person like this in there. Ladies and gentlemen, the lady who brings you your coffee, the man from whom you buy your newspaper, the gentleman who drives you in the Uber, the lady who brings you your pasta dinner, they're all people, okay? You know what you are? You are also a person. Okay, and do you know what that makes you guys? The same, okay? If you wouldn't want someone to walk into your place of employment and destroy you psychologically because something happened that took them an extra second, or because that person who's talking to you earns more money than you, okay? If you wouldn't want that to happen to you, then why the hell would you do it to another person? Okay, like that person who's got like bloody blisters on the inside of her shoes because she's been serving people food for the last 10 hours, including you. She deserves your utmost respect because she's the person with whom you're getting a meal. Okay, she is a human being just like everybody else, and she really does not need you to treat her with lack of respect and dignity. So don't do that. Okay, I could go on and on about that, of course, but this is not an exercise in one fair wage here, and I could definitely make a video about that, but this is Top 10 Tuesdays, and so I'm just going to stay as on track as I can. Now, this is pretty much it. And last week I did the list of top 10 words or phrases that drive me insane, and so I was going to do some more of that this evening, but, well, I found myself more and more leaning towards the people, and so that's why you got the list that you got just now. I do like to say, or I would like to say, that's proper English, before I go, that, well, two things actually, which is one, if you have plenty to say about some of these things, or even just a little example of your own, or something I overlooked, or whatever, please pop your comments down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you agree with anything I've said. The likes actually really help my engagements, by the way. And, of course, if you are not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button below, so you too could become a member of Linda's World. And now, I would like to say my final announcement for the evening, which is that if you are a huge fan of Top 10 Tuesdays, I sincerely apologize, but on this channel for the next couple of weeks, we're going to eliminate the Top 10 Tuesdays series. Instead, I'm replacing it with something that I've been wanting to do pretty much since I started YouTube, which is Linda's Story Times. You don't live 43 years on planet Earth without collecting a great deal of stories, some angering, some bewildering, one or two maybe kind of sort of heartwarming, and a lot humorous. So I'm going to be sharing those with you guys starting later this week. So I bid you a temporary farewell in Top 10 Tuesdays, and let's just see what happens with these story times. I'm eager to tell you my first one. It's gonna happen later in the week. And and also, in case you didn't notice, Self-Care Sundays is coming in vlog form for the next 2 weeks. So I just wanted to let you guys know that because Quarantine With Me is happening, and I'm in process of filming vlog number 2 for Quarantine With Me, which is called Picking Up the Pieces. So if you haven't already checked out Fighting the Gloom, go right ahead because there it is. And I will see you guys later in the week with my very first story time. Thank you very much for listening to this middle-aged lady rant and rave, and I will see you later this week. Bye.